So this is the third and final version of perspective. I mean, there are other versions like fish point or fish eye, 5-point perspective, but those are kind of complicated and aren't used very often. So I didn't think they were really something that I'd want to go over here. Slash, I don't actually know how to do 5-point. I need to take that class.
I can show you. It's really cool. It's easy, but making the grid for it's really hard.
I like Photoshop for making grids.
You draw out your grid though, like I just use the line tool.
I like drawing out my grid because it minimizes the number of lines that I have to put down. Because if I were to just use like a pre-made grid, like, and the lines are too close together, then I can't see. So drawing out my grid every time gives me the ability to see, like, hey, if I don't need this many points this time, then I'll use less lines. If I am doing something really complicated, then I'll slowly add lines as I need them.
I usually just have to turn off pressure sensitivity though, because it's thinner.
Yeah, I'm just gonna live with it.
Yeah, that's cool.
I mean, there's tons of ways to like actually draw your perspective grid.
There's no right way.
There's no right way, there's no wrong way, like just depending on what you prefer.
Yeah.
Because perspective is perspective is perspective. Your line quality is what's gonna change, and what's gonna, like, your eye for perspective is gonna show through no matter how many lines you throw down on your grid. This looks like chaos. I'm not gonna lie, this just looks like pure unadulterated chaos. In 3-point perspective, we do not have no perpendicular lines. Oh, you can't see that. So it's a bit difficult to see, but this kind of perspective lets you draw things from different views, like top views or bottom views. Because this way, not only do they recede on the left and right, they recede up or down. So here I have everything receding towards the top. So it's as if I'm looking from a street at a very tall building, like the Empire State Building. I love New York. Empire State Building. Yes, yes. Perspective, 2-point perspective is more for corner, like it's when you see a corner but you're eye level with it pretty much. But having the third point gives you height. It lets you be above or below something and create a much more dramatic receding angle.
What she said.
Like point 1 gives you depth. Point 2 gives you length and width. Point 3 gives you height. Gonna put down a line. This is gonna be the corner of my super friggin' tall building. And then gonna go, the base for the floor of the building is actually gonna go along here. Then I'm gonna thicken this one, and now I have the front face of this building. So I need to draw it receding off to the left. So again, I'm going to take this point and I'm going to connect it. And then I've connected it to this line that's radiating out here. So I can pull that backwards too. And now I have the building from the back and from the front. And I just need to pull in this line. And that's all for a box in 3-point perspective. These are really good for like really dramatic scenes, you know, because it's like, oh my god, this thing is huge. As you can see, because the points are like, they're on the page here because I'm just like displaying this to you. If I were to draw something like way out, if I were to draw something beyond this point, like out here, then the information given to me by these other 2 points is inaccurate. So that's why it's like, that's why the perspective would be forced. In order to, traditionally, when I draw a large scene on a large piece of paper, I have a yardstick, and I have my paper, and then I'll actually take little pieces of masking tape and put those off of the paper onto my actual desk. And then I'll draw with the yardstick onto the paper from the vanishing points on my desk.